Mm. Let's check the stream. How's it going, everybody? Waiting on Allison. Hello, Duncan Alexander's in the Zoom room. And let's see who's on. Here we go. 27 people in the house. Waiting on Allison. Hey, Lucy Love. Ion Boldy, Angel Divine. Sue Patty. Connie Ma. Marilyn. Biggers. And Nora. Irina Costa. Aline. Sandra Goodwin. Just waiting on Allison. She's probably downloading Zoom. Hey, Rebecca. Donna Davin. Kimberly Bowling. Crystal Hardy. Trisha Cool. Catarina de Amor. Jay Atkinson from North Wales, UK. And the beautiful Taurus New Moon. Dave Woods. Michelle Anguiano. Serpa Tuaminen. Ether Soulstar. Terry Willette. Tina Sykes. 41 people in the house. If these shows resonate, please share. Looks like Facebook's going to let us go on this show. We have 2 more shows today. Let me pull those up. We're waiting on Allison Engel. Let me see who we got today, because I can't remember. There we go. So today, got Allison Engel now. Susan Marie will be in 2.5 hours, and Carol Whitney, which ought to be a really interesting one, first time on SoulSpeaks 5D. Carol Whitney, 3 p.m. Eastern time, New York City time. Let's see. Allison's still not here. Let's see. It's all right. So, a lot of stuff going on. Hello, Babs Love, Heather Nilsson, Carl Streener, Evie Anastiadi, Ann Skoglin. Oh, welcome, Babs Love. Welcome to SoulSpeaks 5D, Soulogy.One Network. Hello, Christy Ruggles. Linda Antonucci Kishibun. Tina Sykes. Yeah, hang on, let's see. Okay, she's got a question here. This is Allison. Yes. Let's see. All right, let me, yeah. Oh, wait a minute, I think she's in now. Let's see. Okay. There she is. All right. Okay, here we go. All right. We are live. We are live, Allison. I just need to warn you of that. How you doing?
Good. Jesus Christ. It's
right?
Real.
I know, man. We're let me just I've been keeping everybody busy, and a lot of people coming in the house. There's 50 people in the house.
Hi.
Yeah, so, and hello everybody else. They're coming in too fast now and I can't. Oh, let me just share this real quick to the Soulogy Network. Yeah, I want to get an update. I'm real excited after I used to comment the other day. I think it would have been Sunday. I think it kind of started. had a show with Nikki Hammond on Sunday, and he was talking about the divine masculine rising or masculine rising, the different journeys of the masculine and feminine. And then the next day, we had an impromptu show, which everybody I'm sure knows about, and it was all, in a nutshell, just reflective of the energy that's going on. And then I'm seeing your post, something about Pluto's up Uranus or something like that. Whatever it is, it sounds pretty severe. So I'm excited to get your take on it. Your signal's pretty weak, but let's try it. Let's see if we can get you. Can you hear us, Allison?
Yep.
Okay, that's better.
Zoom usually works for me off the cell phone towers pretty well, so I think we should be good.
Well, your screen's frozen, so you might even, if you want to, you might even. Well, let's see what happens. If we have any problems, I can stop your video and pick up some more stream that way. But so anyway, what's going on? I've seen some of your posts, and they're basically like, watch out.
Well, I think we all feel the energy of watch out, and so I think it's kind of interesting, as the transits, they kind of provide questions through us, and then they also answer the question for us, so like last time we were talking about how we have to come, or even as I was reading for you, how we have to come into the ship container in the masculine, but as part of conforming to society and being part of the larger whole, but most of us feel really alienated, and we feel like outsiders. We don't feel we necessarily fit into society in this way, and so that's how the psyche kind of works, is through this mirroring, is that we don't want to go into this jail cell per se, or this container, or a relationship, or just a commitment as far as our because we don't take place there. It's more of a compartment for us than our freedom seeking, soul searching, evolutionary growth. And so some of that mirror works because we are afraid of that jigsaw, and so but we can feel ourselves kind of yearning for it more so now, though. I'm go in there now.
I'm following you a bit, but you're really, really breaking up, and they're saying that maybe you want to try to go out and come back in. Maybe you want to try to come back, or because I know how your energy is. So let's see what happens. I was picking up on most of what you said. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so she's gonna go out and come back in. See if we can get a better audio. I'm checking everything over here, and it's okay. Let me go back over here. And wait a minute, Allison. Chat, make those. Here we go. I don't know what happened. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Do you want to? Oh no, can't do that. I don't know what happened. All right. Well, we may have lost her. Okay. Let's just give it a. Well, there she goes. She left. So let's see if she comes back now. We got two people in the Zoom room, Irina Costa and Duncan Alexander. Thank you for coming in. And you guys know that if in the cases where Facebook doesn't allow us to broadcast, that we go to YouTube, but you can always go to the Zoom room, which the Zoom link is in every single post. All right. Here she's back. Let's see how this works. Unmuted. Okay, let's try it again.
Can you hear me?
Let's try it. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of stuff going on astrologically that's really challenging and dense, you know. So Pluto and Saturn went retrograde, and so we're really feeling Saturn and the shadow, which is Pluto, coming fully online. So we're really being pulled into this density of 3D reality, with our shadow masculine fully intact. And so like all the timelines within our shadow. Go ahead.
What does that mean? That I want to hear what that is. The shadow masculine fully intact. That sounds very important. Does it apply only to the men? Does it apply to everybody? What is it?
No, it's fully online for me. So it's not just men by any means. It's really it's these 3D attachments to ourself. It's a 3D image of ourself that wasn't brought into a 4D or 5D timeline. And so as we're really being pulled down to the earth plane, we're being pulled into a 3D self aspect, wounded masculine. And so all these shadow aspects from that are coming out in order to collapse those timelines, but it's a slow process with the Saturn and Pluto retrograde. It's fucking slow and painful. And so it's like it's a slow progression and death like consecutively. And so and it's uncharted territory, as this all really is, but it's uncharted for us because we don't understand ourselves without this aspect there, because what we're doing is really looking for our authentic masculine, but we don't know what that looks like yet.
Wow.
And we don't know that version of ourselves yet. We really have yet to come into the freedom within the masculine without, so it's like we're rebuilding a masculine matrix for within our own. Like I really like visually saw them come and full blown on my right side put in a grid, like put in a new fucking grid. And it's like that's what we're doing, is like really implementing like with like a fucking blindfold on, because we have no clue what we're doing, right? We have no clue what we're doing. We're just doing it as we go. And so we're fully blindfolded and we don't really know who we are yet, or who we are authentically, without these specific aspects of ourselves that are still stuck in lower timelines.
Yeah, that's profound. Yeah. I was faced with something yesterday. Well, I've been coming to what am I trying to say? I've been coming to it, and Morgan helped me with it, help figure it out, and it's what you're talking about. It was hanging on to the what did you say? The shadowed masculine, even a little piece of it, which is keeping, you know, which in other words can only be in, let's say, the 3D timeline or whatever, and it wouldn't go in. It won't go into 5D. You know, and I love what you said about the we don't even know what this rising masculine is, because it's never been done, or we have no idea what it is. How do we figure that out?
I think it's within us. I think we're our own guides, you know, and our guides are our guides, obviously. But I think, you know, it has a lot to do with what I kind of opened with and what we touched on last time when I did your reading, is that jail cell, is that our authentic self, or our 5D self, is really looking for the freedom. And so we're freedom seeking. And so we don't want to go into that jail cell of the new version of ourselves that we know we want to come into, which is the place that we have to slowly build through painstaking hours of building skills and practicing new things, and knowing ourselves through, you know, what that looks like slowly. Instead, we're seeking the freedom outside of that new self image. And so I think really for growth and evolutionary purposes, it's that we know where we're going, but we're fighting that. And that's kind of like this teenage aspect stuck in the 3D and 4D timelines that's kind of polarized in between 3D and 5D, which is like, you know, our bigger self that doesn't see time at all. But as Saturn represents time and his karmic backlog and shit, we're really paying for, you know, not putting the time and effort and skill and patience into what we deserve. It's really all about our money and what we're worth right now, but we have to actually own that and show up for that. And so today's the new moon though too.
Yeah.
Did you know
so,
that?
Yeah, the Taurus moon, and then just a side note, but over the last when we got here to the island, this planet or this star Aldebaran started speaking to me, and that's the eye of Taurus. I know that's got some kind of significance. God, you just said something, and I got off on that sidetrack. So you're talking about the masculine, and you were talking about that jail cell. And the way I know what it is, and the way everything's coming to the surface. Anybody who's had 10 minutes in social media over the last week, not just here in Soulogy, but all the other platforms, because I've read a lot of comments, I've seen a lot of things that people had to say. I think Judith Kuzel, Morgan read a post Judith Kuzel did last night. I mean, there's people talking about it, a lot of chaos. A lot of projection like never before, and in a really weird way, with a certain kind of characteristic and identity. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it is our shadowed masculine in full adorned fully and all the way. And so it's really interesting to have experienced this with all my brothers and sisters. It's really interesting. It's very interesting to see the different perspectives and the way people are handling it. Some people say nothing. Some people say that don't speak a lot, say very little, but usually pretty much on the money. And then there's the bigger actors. Very interesting to see that they would step into the doo-doo, and then they would look around and see that they were sinking, and then they would step out of it and say, I didn't walk in the doo-doo. That's not my doo-doo. You know what I mean? So, and not judging anyone, because I think to your point and to what several other people, including Nikki last Sunday said, is that we're at a level now where just being aware of something in certain terms is the healing. You know, like with that expanded awareness, it's not like it used to be. It's not like, say, totally healed, but with that expanded awareness, once you know, the transformation is a lot quicker. How do you feel about that?
I think you're talking about all the drama that's been going on that I've seen little bits and pieces of.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I myself has been I don't necessarily like to play in the dark. Obviously I do shadow work, but it's fun and playful for me. I don't think of it as dark, but all of a sudden within the past week, I've been trying to watch like mystery shows like Dateline and shit. And so like even I'm being pulled into the shadow. Like I'm more interested in the shadow. And so like it's coming online for everyone, but everyone's doing it in different ways. And so you know, like you said, full-blown projection, which I call shadowcasting. So you're putting your shit on someone else. Like you're saying, you're calling yourself out through someone else. Calling yourself out on your shit.
Yeah.
Through someone else. And so through that, you get a really strong picture of your own masculine ego facade, but also your own the ways that you're not showing up for yourself, because it's that shadow boxing, it's that mirror which
That's
you
a,
know all too well. You have a
yeah, yeah,
conscious
yeah.
relationship going
Yeah.
on.
That's a, you know, that's a
Yeah.
great point. And, you know, I try to put things into layman's terms because everybody, people like you that pull in a certain type of intel in a certain way, in a certain style. And it's like yours is very scientific, I would say, but it's also very, very much like hands-on psychotherapy type stuff. And that's the astrology. Um, but it amazes me what you just said, because I was going back and for the purpose of expansion, I didn't make any comments in anything that was happening. But I would read the stuff they were the shadow casting that they were doing. And I would think to myself, in fact, I saw one comment, somebody said, I hope so-and-so comes back and reads these comments. And I thought to myself, I hope everybody reads their own comments, because it's like what they were shadow casting about the other person was exactly what they were missing in themselves. And I think probably the greatest comment I saw this past week was Vera Ingeborg, who came and said something like, "Oh my God, what a gift! All of us giving these triggers to each other." I mean, she was looking at it from that higher perspective that you were talking about earlier, that knows the no time and space thing, and in a sense doesn't take things so seriously, because people were taking things very seriously. Yeah, but that's a great explanation. Yeah.
But that's Saturn pulling us into this very dense timeline, very dense timeline. Like, I can't handle that density, so I had to start detoxing. I was like, the only way that I can get more of my energy, like, it was just like a combustion chamber for me, and I had to start detoxing or doing something real quick different as far as pulling more of my energy, my chi online, so that the density wasn't just so heavy, because I don't exist there. I don't know how to exist there. So it's like, I had to do something to shift that. And it's actually, I mean, today's the new moon, so it's pretty light energy. It's not a full moon, which is very dense.
Yeah.
So I think we're doing a little bit better now at the end of the week.
Would you say what you were describing, what you were doing was pulling all your energy back into yourself, and maybe or solidifying your field by whatever means necessary, in terms of, like you were the example of cleansing. Would you say that's what you were doing? Because I heard some people talking about pulling all their energy in.
Well, shadow work is a good way to do that though too, because when you're a cat, even if, and it's so necessary too, to cast your shadow, because otherwise you can't see it. If you're keeping the shit in the shadow and you're just a light worker, and you're bypassing all of the horror on the planet and all of your bad shit and all of everybody else's bad shit, and all you can see is the good in everyone, you're gonna get bombarded by shadow and complexes and psychological distortions. And so if your shadow is just so refused, you're going to lose your shit and cast it out. And that's the way it works. But you have to understand that that's your shit. Like, and so when you're shadow casting, it's like, and that's where your 5D self and your meta self can then extrapolate what's mine, what's yours, and then you can own your shit and take responsibility for your shit, and then you can see more clearly your and their shit. And that's how the masculine really wants to actually come online right now. It's not, it really just thinks that your shadow only belongs to the projected person that you're putting it on. And there's no you in there, and there's no fault within yourself. You don't have anything to learn from the words that are coming out of your own face. Then you're losing the gift in what that actually is, and in its essence is it's for you too, you know.
And setting yourself up for a big kahuna. But
Really?
Yesterday, you know, Morgan and I talk all the time, and I heard, it's the first time I ever heard the term. I'm sure it's been out there. I don't know. She said shadow workers, and you're you know, that example you use about if you're just a light worker, you know, and you're just focusing on the fluffy love and light. I don't know, that word, that new label, as temporary as it may be, really appealed to me. Shadow worker, as opposed to light worker. The other thing I wanted to ask you is because you said it's necessary to shadow cast. Is there a healthy way? I mean, I guess the only thing I can see from my layman's chair here is I cast a shadow, I'm unaware, because if I'd been aware, I may have kept my mouth shut. I cast a shadow, a little time goes by, I turn around and reflect, I see what I did, and then I own it in myself. I don't have to tell anybody else. I just in myself. And I saw a lot of people do that. I saw a lot of people do that in the last week. My question to you, is there a healthy way to shadow cast?
So, and this is so important. And so I'm so glad you asked, because it's so important. Your masculine wants to understand its power. And if we're spiritual and we can't get upset and we can't lose our shit and we can't wield our sword when it's time to wield our sword, your masculine, it has erectile dysfunction. Your masculine has serious issues as far as its own power. So if you can't use, because society and in the spiritual community wants to people who are aggressive in jail. They want to, you know, shame women for being angry. They want all anger to be demonized, right? It's not, but it's a very powerful emotion. The reason why it's cast into the shadows because we could own this planet if we were allowed our own willpower, right? And so your masculine needs to not only cast its shadow to understand what its power is, where it can use this power, but that is actually the integration piece. It's like, holy shit, I have a fucking sword.
Yes.
When should I be using it and when should I not be using it? And so that is where, okay.
Time out.
Time out.
I got to tell you, we've done several shows together, and I'm pretty good at what I do. You know, this is just me talking to me. You speak a language, and Morgan's similar. You know, I mean, and some other people I know, it's a scientific. It's like a machine gun, and it takes me a little while. But of all the shows I've done, I maybe it's me, I don't know, but this is golden, and I really don't want to miss it. And I also have to say this on a personal level because I've been talking about and trying to express what I'm seeing or feeling in this masculine rising thing, which means you're also losing that. What did you call it? The full blown shadow masculine. Dealing with all that, you're describing it perfect, and I love the fact too that you describe it in energy because it makes it a lot less complicated. So going back to what you're saying, because I want to be clear on it for my own growth. This is, you said exactly how I feel and what I've seen and observed and experienced, but couldn't put into words, and I'm a wordsmith. So you're this shadowed masculine, or let's just say our shadowed masculine energy is there, been there all the time, and we're watching it go away. We're saying bye-bye. We're crying, kicking, screaming, moaning, and groaning. And then we have this rising masculine, which to your words, we don't even know what the hell that is. We are creating that template, which is a great honor and fantastic. But we have this sword, okay? Energetically, it is the phalanx. We have this sword, and so the sword comes with us, but we can't use the sword. Nikki Hammond, when this wave started for me anyway last Sunday, he came on and he said a true masculine has all the power, but a true masculine never has to use it. And I thought, whoa, that's the frequency. Now, I think what he meant was in the old way, like getting loud, chopping heads off, or that type of thing. And that mean I'm not saying it's 100% accurate. I'm just saying that's kind of where I was coming from. But so, what does the masculine energy do in these daily life situations that occur, especially in the ascension, because they're in your face? What does the masculine energy do with that power now? How does he express it? Is there a way to do it, or is this what we're figuring out?
And I think because of the intensity of Pluto, the intense energy, the power, the primordial edge that's coming on right now, I think that it's actually important to lose it and fucking just, and I think it's a really important part of integrating archetypes, and regardless of what they are, is to fucking play it out. Like really just, you are safe in your metasoul, like you're in society, yes, but like you're safe, and you don't need to judge any of the archetypes or their behavior bad, wrong, or just let them fucking play out and then watch them, and then that's how they integrate. So if you're gonna part and lose your shit, that's actually really cool because there's a lot of fucking power in there. There's a lot of energy to be harnessed that has been left in the shadow for a very long time, especially on a spiritual journey. We're all supposed to be so complacent, right? Like so complacent and like just very grateful for everything. But what are we steering then? You know, if our power is the shadow and our masculine. So if we allow these archetypes to come online and allow them to take over and play their shit out and really own our emotions and what wants to come through, that energy then will integrate, then understand our power, and then we can be more aligned with what your friend said as far as has all the power. And you can really hear it in people's voices when they have the power and they're just clear and fucking assertive. There's a big difference than the scorpion tail coming out, you know, from behind when you don't take the suffering out of scorpion tail can fucking bite you or bite whoever is there to take the suffering later on in life. And so I think really as we're pushing through this, it's learning how to be more assertive instead of this domineering, overpowering masculine that we've had to use in the past. And that is how we're integrating, but you have to let them fucking play out. You have to let the chaos ensue and then allow yourself to understand.
Can you? You're cut. We lost you there for a second. Let me ask you this, and maybe, and I'm sure you'll come back on. So it's important that we not suppress. And I'm trying to sum this up and just get a. So it's important that we don't suppress this shadowed masculine that has been, I don't want to say dormant, but that's been over here in these dark crevices of the ego soul, because they need to come out so everybody can see it and we can see it in ourselves, and therefore the healing begins. So can we do that? Do we have to be a participant? Can we just observe the mirrors, the gifts of the mirrors out there, and have that internal dialogue if we honor and allow the emotions to flow, be it within ourselves in the universe or with another person we share it with, or even going full-blown public lynching. I'm going to get out on social media and just, let it ride. Is there one way better than the other?
No, you learn a lot either way. You learn a fucking lot either way. But I'm speaking as far as like the energy source that's in that shadow. Once you bring that fully online, you're integrating something primordial that belongs to you, that does not belong in the underworld, which is the shadow. And so Yeah, so you
Okay,
really want
I get
to,
this.
at
Yeah,
some point, like bring that shit
yeah,
online, whether you can
yeah,
go full out in like a, a body combat type exercise, like you really just want to tap into that
yeah, yeah,
and understand it. Yeah,
yeah.
because unless you do that, you're gonna be afraid of it.
So this
And there's
is,
a lot of willpower in there.
yeah. So this is what I've been getting at. And this is my own internal dialogue. And again, I know you're talking energy, and I'm really talking energy too. I'm just a physical representation of that in my own experience, in my own universe. But so this is what I was getting at. And I've said this a couple of times, and you're really pulling it together. So there's this transition in the old paradigm. What I was, and I'm just representing a representative, is let's just say the masculine energy that you're talking about. What I was wasn't all an illusion. There was a power in me, a sexual power, and I don't mean, obviously just sex. I mean, I'm talking about the power of creation, the creator, or whatever you want to call it, the masculine, the doer, whatever. But there was a power that I had to leave behind, and I knew that it was supposed to come with me, but I just didn't know how. And this is what you're talking about. You're saying if you need to go climb a mountain, go climb a mountain. If you need to go run a marathon, if you need to get into the boxing ring and spar with somebody, if you need to scream and holler or punch a pillow or whatever the case is, do it. Because and maybe you can tie this up, because I'm almost there with you. But so, because when you do it, that energy is pulled up, and then what happens?
It integrates, and there's more you can feel more of your power, you can feel more of your own masculine instincts. So if you're afraid of all those things, you're actually afraid of the masculine.
Yeah.
And so and so if there's a fear of the masculine, and this is the issue, is that you can't actually hold the masculine. And I don't mean hold the masculine like a phallic. I mean, you can't hold on to your money, and you can't hold on to your things, and you can't hold on to what's real in 3D.
Yeah.
Right? Then 5D comes along, and we're losing it because we're so Neptunian, and we're just swimming, right? And nothingness, and bathing in nothingness. And that's fine, because who gives a fuck? But our 3D selves really need to come along and join the fun, and like hold on to the physical aspects of life, especially as we're going into this Uranus and Taurus transit. All this energy is coming down to the earth plane, and we have to make this shit land for other people, because there's so many other people that are starting to wake up that don't have this information, and they can't get it until we land, in full 3D hell, and remind ourselves that this is not only is everyone experiencing this, even people who can't then detox and then feel floaty again.
Yeah.
This their shit is like coming to the surface, and like it's our job to help them. So
Yeah. Now
so
the one of the
potential in that is exponential.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
The potential in us is exponential.
Oh, it's
that. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say to you too, because I think money is a great example, and I'm just going to tell you what I've observed, and I'm not judging or attacking anybody. I'm just telling you for what you said. We all want to help everybody. We through our own experience or whatever we can offer. So, in the chair I sit in, I get people come at me. They want to go on the show for different reasons, and that's okay. What I have noticed in the last 10 days to 2 weeks, and most of these are women, but most of the people in the shadow worker community are women. Okay, so it's not a big deal. It's proportionate. But what it is I've noticed they've been pressing, and I can see in the energetic field they're pressing for money in the old method, of get your lunch pail, go to work, in the old controlled strategic, if I go on the show and if I do this and if I do that. I can see this, and I've seen it a couple of times before, but I noticed over the last 10 days that energy is rising, and that's what you're talking about. I'm not picking on anybody, but they're holding on. They don't want to let go of that that comfort zone, that way that they've seen work, to allow for something they've never seen to work in a greater magic. That's how I would put it. Yeah.
A big part of what, yeah, exactly. Like a big part of what we're coming into is the letting go of a facade due to fear, letting go of something specific that we hold on to due to fear, which is actually the new moon today, right now. I think it is almost right now, exacting. Is holding on to something due to fear, as the South Node is exactly conjuncting Saturn, holding on to very old, ancient, ancestral woundings as far as worthiness and money, and not being enough, and not being able to hold on to or understand in a grounded sense, in a wholehearted being sense, that we're enough. And so letting go of that is similar to like the meme, because it's all duality, it's all mirrors, right? And so the vice versa is Jesus holding on to or asking a little girl for her very tiny stuffed animal, and she's afraid to let go of it, but he has a huge stuffed animal behind his back. As soon as she's letting it go, with something that she's afraid to let go of. And so on my journey, it's been that times fucking 10. Every time I let go of something very small and insignificant, something huge is just waiting around the corner. And that's our relationship with not only the masculine providing for us, but the universe and life calling us, which is very phallic, because we have to put our fucking masculine suit on and go protrude into the world and do some shit we've never done before, and some shit that we don't necessarily understand until we do it.
It's like diving in head first, no pun intended. Now, but you know, I love what you're saying again, because it brings such clarity. If you think about the dynamics of where we've been, and you separate, for lack of a better word, the masculine and feminine role, obviously, and the fact that you are explaining this being our shadowed masculine, which is the gift, and the door, the little bear to get the big bear. But what I'm saying is that it would only make sense that of the two gender energies, the one that would want to hang on to the old paradigm or have more trouble letting it go would be the masculine, because it had more power in the paradigm, you know? So it only makes sense. And then with the astrological alignments or movements or positions, that to me is a really good sign, because as you're telling us what's happening, that tells me that somehow or another these formations and such are telling us, it's a synchronicity, basically saying here's where you're at, and you know, and it just makes sense. Everything kind of aligns.
It does. It hasn't been feeling great though.
No.
And it's so dense. But I'm seeing too that there's a specific archetype coming online. You know, a lot of what I do is psychology, but it's all based on the mythos and all the archetypes that are really written into the fabric of our existence itself. So one that's coming on right now is Dionysus, and he long story about Dionysus, but he is like the god of wine and theater, and being outside of society's norms, and feeling like an outcast. And so that's possibly how we can't necessarily conform to the old container, because it's outdated. There's no safe place in that old container for us, until we can now bring Dionysus online, which says, because he's totally, well, in one version of the story, he's totally immortal. So he's totally divine, yet he's he's you know, he's rebellious. He's extremely rebellious, and so allowing him, you know, to come with us how, you know, at a very teenage level, and which is 4D, being polarized in between two realities, you know, and not being able to evolve fully into 5D just automatically, which is what everyone assumes is going to happen when
You're
we
right.
wake up, is that, oh, we're just going to be done.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're just going to be done. And like, there's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why that whole, and I'm not knocking anybody, but that whole thing with the plasma wave and the blink of the universe's eye, and we're all going to wake up and be in fucking Shangri-La. This is
That's the magical distortion.
Yeah, this is
That's a
the
specific archetype. It's a
yeah.
magical child. Yeah.
What did you say?
It's a magical child that doesn't.
Yes.
It's a magical child that doesn't really want to be here at all. It's a dissociation from reality and responsibility. So
I want to
think a big.
Go ahead.
I just want to finish on Dionysus. He actually was born twice, and so he was his mom died, and Zeus actually sewed him into his own thigh, and that's how Zeus became his second womb. And so I feel like that's really symbolic about what we're doing right now, as our masculine is becoming the womb for this new masculine that's coming on, that we have, you know, no understanding of and no grasp of yet, but we're learning as we go, which is life basically. But I feel we should have some other template than mythology to lead the way here.
That's fascinating.
So I just wanted to touch on that. The masculine is now, because the womb is now separate from us. We're in full-on fucking 3D. So this Neptunian 5D, although it's available, it's not, we can't feel it. So the masculine is now the womb as we're creating this new matrix. So we have to trust that this new ship that we don't know. We don't understand.
I'm digging it. Okay, I want to ask you something on that has kind of a personal thing, and if you don't mind, is there anything that you know about the star system or constellation Corona Borealis with the star Alphecca? Have you ever run into that? No.
There's more than one Borealis, right?
Yeah. The Corona Borealis is a 7 in a kind of a, not a full circle, but a circular shape on its way to a circle, and the main star is Alphecca. But I was just curious because I'd never heard of it before until just recently. So yeah, I'm really digging this. You know, the other thing I find really interesting, and I think we could maybe talk about it sometime, is I know your story and how you started downloading everything. I had a conception that it was a certain amount of information, but every time I talk to you, it's pulling in something else. You know, the mythos, you know, the archetypes. I think it was last time you talked about new archetypes, which I'd love to get into. Like, are we leaving old archetypes behind, and therefore new archetypes are coming in?
Yeah. Have you heard of human design?
Human design?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Ooh, Todd. So this is like your aura mechanics. So this is how your aura actually works. So if you go get your human design chart, human design uses the I Ching astrology, and like really synergizes all of these modalities into one. And then you'll understand how your aura mechanics work, and how to use your own system, actually. So according to human design, there's 16 godheads or archetypes, and we each come to kind of focus on one, but all the yang archetypes are dying off in the grid. So all the very, very masculine archetypes are dying off. And I think that's a bit of what we're feeling now as far as them coming fully back online. It's this has been my healing journey, is they, in order to heal them, they have to fully come back online. And so then we can see them, honor them, and they can leave. And so that's really how it works, is we're kind of collapsing timelines, is that they split,
Mhm.
you know, on top of each other, so that we can see them. Yang yang, and there's 4 of them, and so they are completely shutting down and no more. That this is necessarily happening soon, but I know with it, by 2027, according to human design, we're not going to have the same system at all. Like mind will not be at the forefront of what we're doing. It won't work the same.
Where does somebody find out or about human design and get their chart or their reading or whatever you would call it?
My friends do very in-depth reading, so they spend hours and hours and hours with you as far as giving you content to help you understand your human design chart and how to understand yourself better. So that's Danielle Rodenross and Thomas So I'll have to link those afterwards. Yeah. But your human design chart is just at Human Design America or Jovian Archives.
Do you think they'd be interested in coming on the show?
Yeah, they do a lot of their own stuff in their own classes. So yeah, like they're totally It's so interesting how they talk about it's very Aquarian. I love how they put it as far as system. I think they refer to God as like it's a machine. So it's like, which actually is a lot of the same stuff that I got as far as putting this into my book, is that the apparatus of this whole universe is like a radio ionized synthesis machine. So putting out the waves of energy. So it's all really fascinating to hear them talk to.
I can't believe. Jenny Smith just put up one of the links that you were going to put up, jovianarchive.com. I can't believe we made it through an hour with this distortion on your end, but we were able to. 95% of it came in, and great information. Cool. Now, is your book out yet? If not, when's it going to be out? How can people find you? And just a little bit about what you do on a personal level for people and your session work.
So I do like astrology readings if you just want to understand what's going on for you specifically. If you want to understand your life purpose, I give you a very detailed rundown as far as like who you are and what you're coming into in this life, what you've experienced in past lives, what you have mastery over in past lives, some of your biggest wounds as far as where your power source actually is in those deepest fears. And that's your biggest transformation as far as coming into your biggest gifts in this lifetime and year. And so there's certain placements that can give you a rundown, and I start to touch on depth astrology or using your chart work, or help you, heal your subconscious and just stop all those fear-based and limited based thinking, that's still stuck in your subconscious. And so I also built a counseling system that heals those subconscious wounds specific to the children archetypes. And so there's many different variations of wounded children, abandoned children within the subconscious. So that is a rapidly shifting system that will really kind of activate you as we write new neurolinguistics in your metasoul timeline for like a healed 5D grid, then as more triggers come online, it's easier to heal and subside those wound sets if you have these neurolinguistics for 5D kind of in your meta self. Then you can kind of get activated into how to heal through the psyche really quickly as people who come to see me really transform quickly, but they also kind of get activated into a higher timeline where they can see more dimensions playing out constantly, and that's really how I've come into what I am kind of bringing through, just seeing so many timelines, so many dimensions in one sitting that and so really being able to see, you know, how it's like the shadow or everything that we come into experience is all from our subconscious. Like it's all from us and it's all from our own perception, and it really has nothing to do with anybody else. And so
that's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's the real, you know, the real I don't know if we want to use the word healing, but energy work, energy practitionership, very real time, very, very much cutting edge. Thank you for the incredible explanations today, timely, well described, well descripted about what's been happening from a, I don't know what that is. It's not totally scientific, but it's a little bit of everything, and I love it. Can't wait to see your book come out. Everybody, check out Allison. This is the year of co-creation and collaboration, sovereignty, expansion, and supporting each other in equal energy exchange. So please take a look at Allison's pages, site, and so on, and reach out to her if and when you resonate. And let's keep the ball rolling. I'll see you again, Allison. You take care. Best to you and yours. Thank you so much.
You too. Thanks for that.
I loved it.